Good morning and welcome back to Living on a UK State Pension. I'm just checking the time because I've not long been back from Aquasize. Today is Thursday, April the 10th, and I've decided to do the monthly roundup to be put up for tomorrow because, in all honesty, I don't think I'm going to spend another penny, so I can get all the bits and pieces sorted and look at the bank account ready for Monday, see what I've got left in there at the moment and make sure that everything can be paid come next week. So the other thing I need to do is pay my council tax. I'm going to write that on here, because the new council tax year has started and I've put one payment in my savings, in my bill money. So if I pay that, then the next one will be due Monday. So I'm going to be really ahead of the game with it. So I must do that when I've finished on here. I have to write notes. Are you like me? Otherwise, my head at the moment is so full of stuff, and I've said this before, that I take on things and something drops off the other end. So I have notes that I can repeatedly go back to, because otherwise I'd be absolutely lost. So first of all, in the chat, before I do the figures and what I've spent money on, etc., food and other things that I've bought with my spending money, I just wanted to answer a couple of questions. And one of them that is mentioned in the background more than once was, sort of, what's going on with you and your husband? We were married for over 40 years, well over 40 years. The only thing I'd say is that we were planning our retirement differently, and therefore, it became a stumbling block. So, and that's it. And he's, we're good friends. So, I couldn't ask for more. I know if I got on the phone now and phoned him up and said, can you come down to do something for me, he would. And I would equally for him. You can't be with someone all those years and wipe it away, I think. And maybe if something really nasty had happened, perhaps that would put a different slant on it. But yeah, I'm quite prepared to move on as I am, who I am currently, and make my way in the world, so to speak. So that's it. Nothing, no affairs, no nothing like that. So no alcoholism, no. And that's it. So I alluded to in a video about me climbing for the Home Office, and I'll go through this as quickly as I can. In 2010, two agencies joined together, the United Kingdom Immigration Service and HM Revenue and Customs, and we became Border Force. Now, I was part of UKIS and was a trained immigration officer, and we were joined with customs officers, and we had to train in each other's roles. Customs being the much bigger organisation, we had to go over to their terms and conditions. We had to go over to their shift patterns, everything. And I have to say, in all honesty now, had my existing terms and conditions remained, I would have stayed on work after 60, definitely. I loved my job. It was the shifts. I absolutely hated the new shift pattern. I didn't even mind the border force work to a certain degree, but I hated the shift pattern. It was a killer. It was a real killer. And yeah, I knew it was impacting on my health, and I'd reduced my hours enough to still get my pension, etc., and to still pay good contributions in. But I didn't want to keep reducing them. I just couldn't put up with the shifts. So I went when I was 60. Even at 59 and a half, I had to go and do my personal safety training level 3 in a gym, where you are repeatedly thrown to the floor, you are pulled around by handcuffs, you are put in certain situations where you have to fend for yourself, etc., etc. And yeah, I'd never had to do that before 2010. Immigration only ever went up to level 2 of personal safety training, but because customs carried batons and handcuffs, we then had to go on to do the level 3, so that I was then carrying a baton and handcuffs as well. Anyway, climbing. Due to being a border force officer, and what happened was our role became half freight and half tourist. And if you were on freight, you were dealing with lorries, and the lorries would get scanned, and the image operator would say, this lorry needs looking in. So somebody out of the team, depending on how big the gaps were to get in, had to climb into the load and check the load and feed back to the x-ray operator and tell them what it was you were seeing inside the boxes or the machinery or whatever they had asked you to look at. Now, if it's a curtain sider lorry, you know, with the material sides, inside you have struts and you have boards going across, and there's gaps in between the boards. It's just in case the load shifts. It gives that bit of stability that a curtain alone wouldn't. So you use the boards to climb up, to get up the side, to get across the load, to move from side to side of the load, because some loads are up and down like that, and because they're multi-drop, this first section might be Basildon, the second section might be Dagenham, the third section might be North London, like that. That's how it is. You know, you don't know till you get in a load. So we'd normally send someone in first, so that you haven't got to worry about putting the load back exactly the same way as it was in the lorry. And yes, so I climbed. You'd shimmy across boxes, not knowing whether there was a gap in the box and whether you were going to fall through. Sometimes, yeah, and you'd go on your stomach, sometimes swimming across the tops of the boxes, because you had a gap like that, big enough for a small person to go through till you got to the front or wherever the image operator wanted you to get to. So yes, I'm pretty sure-footed when I'm climbing, but yes, there is an agreement in place that me and my friend will look after each other when doing dangerous jobs, shall we say. So while on the subject of HMRC, I gave them another ring on Wednesday, and I spoke to a very, very helpful young lady. I think Amanda. I've written it down, written every single thing down, and she did confirm that it definitely was a genuine letter. That's all she could tell me. Looking at the information I had given her, it was a genuine letter from HMRC, and she would be putting it in the hands of the fraud department, etc., to get my address unlinked from the name, so that you know, I don't get any problems in the future. She said, there may be a couple of letters in the pipeline. She said, just return them to us, not known at this address, and it will get logged again and again and again. Fingers crossed. But when I woke up yesterday, I have to say I'd had such a good night's sleep the night before that I felt that a weight had been lifted off my shoulders, and I think sometimes getting a good night's sleep can put things into proportion, because if you're tired you can become negative very quickly, and it's finding a way to embrace positives, to get rid of the negatives out of your life, because I am quite a positive person. So I sat there in my head, I rationalised it, and I thought there's more evidence in my favour than against me. So yeah, I've got nothing to worry about. So I've done everything I can. I recorded the phone call I made yesterday. So, you know, I can't do any more than I've done. So that's it. That's it on the subject. I'm, you know, hoping that that's the end of it, shall we say. That's the end of it. Something I've been thinking about, because Lidl have currently got on the offer, whereas if you spend £30 this week, they'll give you £5 off next week, a £5 coupon towards a £30 shop next week. I'm thinking of doing a £30 shop for the food bank in Lidl, and then I'll earn the £5, which I can either use and take £5 out of the 60 and put it into savings, or just hold on to it for an emergency. And I'll explain, because I've had such an emergency where I've had to take £5 out of the bank to cover something. But when it comes to my book, I'll tell you about that shortly. So I may go down and do a £30 shop later and put it in the food bank to earn the £5, because I've still got a £5 coupon for Marks and Spencer's as well. So that evens it up. I can use the £5 Marks and Spencer's next month and either put another £5 into savings, or just keep it as an emergency if I need to spend it. I don't know how I'm going to do, I really don't. So moving on to ISAs. If you have got anything that can go in a easy access ISA, it's certainly worth doing it while the interest rates are good. With everything that's going on with our stock markets and, you know, the current tariff backwards and forwards, different countries, and everything that's going on in the news, who knows what's going to happen in the future. But I will say I did read over the weekend that Rachel Reeves is definitely going to tamper with the ISAs in the autumn budget. She has said she wants to change the ISA system. Now, we've spoken about this before. The one she prefers is the stocks and shares one. So she's going to lower the cash one and probably up the stocks and shares one, so that you know, anyone tempted to put their money in an ISA is forced almost to put it in the stocks and shares ISA. Two problems with that: when you're older, you want your income guaranteed, don't you? Let's face it, you do. Speaking for me, I don't know how many years ahead I've got. I know nobody does. I know nobody does. But, you know, let's face it, the probability of me going to pass away at some point in the future is higher than for a young person that might invest in stocks and shares. And let's face it, let's just witness what has gone on with the stocks and shares in America and other countries due to the tariffs and that. There's a lot of jittery stocks and shares markets out there at the moment. And, you know, there's already experts saying about, you know, about pensions that are linked to stocks and shares, how your pension could have been affected quite badly with what has just recently happened. So yes, anything you've got, easy access, ISA, get it in there. Even if it's only in there for a couple of months, that's a couple of months interest you're going to have on it that you can use later on in the year, you know, because obviously interest is paid daily. I know you don't see it in the account daily, but it's clocking up in the background daily. So it's definitely worth doing, definitely worth doing. So that's that one out the way. Everyone seemed to like the falafel recipe. It looked easy and that. The only thing I will add, it does need, because as I mentioned on the day, it said that it needed a, I'm trying to think of the word and it's gone out of my head. It does need a sort of like sauce to go with it, a dip of some kind where you dip the falafel in, because I think they make a yogurt dip out of something, and they also, I mean, the recipe I use recommended beetroot hummus, which is slightly slacker than the normal beetroot, so you could quite easily dip your falafel in, because they can come across a bit dry. So as I tasted it, I tasted mine with sweet and sour, didn't I? So that was good. That was really good to dip it in the sweet and sour, the sweet chili sauce. Dipping it in the sweet chili sauce was a definite positive. So yes, I think they do benefit from a dip sauce on the side when you have it as a meal, you know, something that you can dip the falafel in. I follow, I should say, Dr. Amir Khan on Instagram. He's the Asian doctor from GPs Behind Closed Doors. Can't remember what channel it's on, Channel 4. And he's got an Instagram account and he talks about various illnesses. He's very down to earth doctor. Everything from the position you should be on your loo to make going to the toilet easier, to some of the best vegetarian recipes that he puts on there. And there was one the other day that I found on there. I'm not going to name it at the moment, but it's something I'm going to be making as well. And apparently Italians use it as a starter, but he said, you know, you could have it on the side of a meal as well, and it looked absolutely delicious, and it looked so simple to make as well. So I'm definitely going to be doing that. So thank you, Dr. Khan. You've given me some brilliant ideas for vegetarian meals and even vegan meals as well. So I think I've covered everything on my list now. So I'll take you into the kitchen where we'll go over the monthly figures or the 4 weekly figures. One of the big mistakes I made was let me just get the ticket out. No, I think it's in the back because it's mainly, yeah. I don't know why I took the £3.50 off the Home Bargains instead of the B&M, which should have just come out at £1.10. I mixed them up. So I realised my mistake, and that can come out of there. So I did sort that earlier in the month because I just thought something's not right here. Something's not right, and I worked out what it was. So my shopping came to £109.21. £4 of that was as a reward. So I had actually in cash spent £105.21. So I had to borrow 21p from my spending money, and I put £15 straight away into my bank, but I'm going to have to take £5 out to go to the bank tomorrow because Bertie needs some kibble. I didn't realise I was so low on kibble. So I really need to add £5 to this. And it is £5. I've looked it up. So it's going to be £114.21, which I've done there, which is £110. So only £10 going over into savings. So what I'll do, I'll just pay for Bertie's food on my card, because I can't get just £5 out of the bank. So yeah, £110 on groceries. Now, Home Bargains, I bought the blanket that I made a new bed for Bertie. And yep, that's there. Very faint, very, very faint, £3.50. They need some ink in their machine, so I've got that. I haven't got a receipt for the £3.80 in Greggs. Vinted, it was a swimming costume I bought for £5.70. This is the swimming costume. Let me come away. There we are. It's actually black. It's looking blue on the screen, but it's black. It was new, but no tags. £5.80. You know what? I'm on the lookout for another one next month because that's an absolute bargain. Absolute bargain. And it fits lovely. I'm going to do the other clothes while I've got the camera away. So this was Hospice Shop, and I spent £3.50 in the Hospice Shop. I'll just tick that off. I don't know which way round, whether this was £1.50. Can you see? Let me pull it away a bit more. Can you see? And this is a next dress that I'm going to make into a top because I love the pattern on it. So I don't like the pockets on it, so I'm going to cut just above the pocket and do a hem and make it into a nice loose top. Yeah, if I put it on the hanger, you might be able to see it a bit better. Ignore the yellow top underneath. You can see the shape of it a bit better. This needs stitching up a little bit to make it sit nicely. So I'm just going to make that into a top. So both of them together came to £3.50, two tops. It doesn't say, it doesn't give you a breakdown which is which. So one was £2 and one was £1.50. I would imagine the dress was £2. So I like the black and white on it. I think it's nice. So I've got another top, nice cool top, 2 nice cool tops to wear during the summer. So that's the hospice shop down there. 49p, I'll go back up the list. 49p was the lemon that I made lemon curd out of, which I've still got half in the fridge. 50p was for my knitting pattern in the hospice shop in my own town that don't even give you a receipt. So I haven't got a receipt for that. That's why it's got the cross. Home Bargains, I've got 55p, which was bread that I bought, the loaf, the oatmeal loaf. And B&M was 20p, which was the Easter cards that I bought. And I've got another Home Bargains, £4.33 there, which was my pansies and I bought some monkey nuts. That's right, bought some monkey nuts because you don't get them very often in shops. And they were just putting them out, and I thought, yep, I want some of those. So I brought £7.48 forward. I only took out £30 this month. Reason being, I told you, the taxman hit my second pension, my little pension, and took an addition £12 off it. So I took it down to 30, so I had £37.48 to spend, which if I take that away from that means I've got £6.85 left. So I put count up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 50, 60, 65, 68. 668. So I'm 17p adrift. I'm not going to worry about that. You know what, I'm going to take off there quickly. What's Saturday's date? 10th, 11th, 12th. Because I'll probably go for a coffee with my friend Saturday, and that will be my turn at £3.80. So that will be 8, 9, 10, 11, 13, 4, 34, 33, and I'll rejiggle what I've got to come forward. So, right, I've made a note that when my next period starts for my spending, my 4-week spending, I have got a part payment. So I've got about £9 more to spend, £9 more in my bank account, because I've got the part payment on the new state pension. The new amount doesn't actually kick in, the 909 doesn't kick in till the 12th of March in my case. So there we are, 12th of March, 12th of May. That's the first full payment. Oh, there we are. There we are. Things aren't too bad. These are the peppers. I'm going to divide them up this weekend and pop them on. These are the next lot of peas. This is 2 more cucumber. Nothing as yet. I'm going to put them back in the plastic bag. They're the tomatoes that I potted on, all here. They're the stocks. They are lupins that I put in. Onions, they're going to go in the bed outside. I've got 1 courgette and 2 cucumber. They're the beetroot. And the lettuce can now start going in the bed outside. So I need a day outside, and I need some plastic bottles to make some collars for the lettuce to stop the snails getting everything. As for the sweet peas, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, possibly 7, 8 there. I don't know if I'll get any more, but at least something did come up. Thanks, Johnny. So yes, everything's looking good. There's some tomatoes hardening off in the greenhouse. So my little plastic greenhouse, and the beans are out there. So again, I might put the beans in the ground and just have fleece at the ready for any frost that we have forecast. So all looking good. Hi, I've just jumped back on just to end the video because I've just done all my banking, and yeah, on Monday I'll have, so I'm looking down at my book, I'll have £600 in my holiday fund. I'll have £691.55 in my bill money, because this month I've got no insurances or anything to pay, or no birthdays. I've got a birthday straight after my next payment in May. I'll be paying £100 off my credit card. That balance will be gone completely. So I've got £85 on there from my car. So that'll be gone. And other spending savings, I've got £350 in. And good news is £50 has just dropped into my bank account from Nationwide, and I'm not going to need it. I'm not going to put it in my spending and savings. I'm going to take that and put it in completely different savings account for the time being, and hope that I can manage without it, because yeah, I've paid for my car now. I've got £350 in savings. So with another, I might be able to add another £50 this month, as well as 60 from the food, if I do okay. So that will start bringing that up towards the £500 mark, ready for if he gets hold of me, that he's sorted a pump out for my boiler. I mean, it's all working at the moment. It's all working. And, you know, fingers crossed it continues to work, and that it doesn't need doing until all my heating is switched off, you know. So I'm really, really looking forward to getting that paid for and seeing what I've got left in my savings. But I've worked it out, my new, from May, when I get my full new state pension amount, I'll be able to pay regularly £100 off my credit card, £100 off my holiday. I'll be able to put £50 into savings and still have £50 spending money. So I can twiddle with that some way or another and have more spending money, because if I don't need to put it on my credit card for any reason, it can be spending money or savings. So yeah, it's all coming good. And as I say, from Monday, I will be way ahead of the game with my council tax as well. So it's so nice. It is such a lovely feeling to know that everything is bought and paid for. And yeah, I'm lucky enough to be in that position. So thanks for watching, and I'll be back very soon. I've only put this up early because next week is going to be hectic, what with the shop that I'm going to do for my challenge, and then I want to film how I store the veg. I also want to film a lot of the little recipes that I'm going to be doing to get me through the 4-week period on less money. So yeah, there's going to be a lot of imagination going on here to stretch that money without me having to, you know, empty the freezer out and empty the pantry out, which is false economy, isn't it? So I've really got to make that £60 work for me and only use odds and sods from other areas. But thanks for watching. Bye bye.